Welcome, friends. Welcome to today's Reconsider It live stream. Best live stream you're gonna see all day. And here on this live stream, you are gonna get a very nice hour of some improvised live looping, all vocals like what you're hearing right now, all vocals. We have got the foundations of a beat here, something to listen to while we get started. I'm gonna be building up this beat some more. We're gonna bring in the synth. Man, it's gonna be really good. We might even talk about stuff. Whoa. It's called Tinker Time. My regulars know what it is. Speaking of my regulars, Davey! Available for your hug-related needs. If you are new to the Reconsider It live streams, welcome! You made the right decision joining us. We want you here. Friends, right now, we are in a warm-up phase, my friends. We are just hang out, getting the blood flowing, getting comfortable with this foundation of a beat that we shall build upon. And, my friends, while we are here in this warm-up phase, I need to celebrate. Thank you for being here. Whether you are here with us live in the chat, whether you are here with us live, but you are not in the chat, whether you are here with us after the live, you are watching on replay. However it is that you are here with us, thank you for being here. I am going to celebrate you at this time in this way. I have got my drink. I am going to count to 3 and I am going to clink. You are invited to join the rest of us as we cheers along and celebrate our togetherfulness. And it all begins, my friends, on 2, 1, 2, 3. Clink. Cheers, Mom. Oh man, that is just really good. I have this deeper exhale that I'm able to do. That's good. That goodness is just so good. Please like this video. Please subscribe. Please share this video where it would be welcome. Friends, we have got a Tinker stream on our hands. That is a really good thing. It's very good, in fact. It is so good. It is good to a level you never knew before, but not as good as Good Doggy! Who has just joined us. So, we do have a Tinker stream on our hands, which is really good, and I am very excited for it. And for you. Let's begin with some percussion. At this time, I'm getting caught up on the chat. And I see there's a lot of discussion around YouTube, this and that. Having YouTube page and some things you experience as a YouTube page person. And part of what Rabbit has been sharing is the very brilliant offer. Now, I don't know if this is I don't know if Rabbit is just brainstorming. I don't know if this is confirmed. But I believe he's saying that the last person to sub to his channel will get all his gear. That's a pretty good offer. I'm already subbed to Wabbit's channel. I subscribed to Wabbit like basically the instant I learned of Wabbit's existence. I was like, whoa, subscribe. But if you are not yet subscribed to the Crazy Wabbit's channel, he says last person to subscribe is going to get all his gear. The man. The man. The man. The man. Thomas! see right now, Milky right now in the chat made a comment that says like, "Oh, these little time things are cool." That keeps track of like, you know, how far in the loop is it, you know, essentially. And I agree. That was one of the nice enhancements that happened with the Mark II, the top looper. It may or may not be obvious, but as you look at the bottom looper, which is the Mark I, the original looper model, these are all the same length, or they all have the same like duration. Even if the loops themselves are of different lengths. Contrast that with the top looper, where you can see the red colors that are just sort of going around slowly like this. Those are of different lengths. These two loopers, 2 and 4, or these two loops I should say, 2 and 4, these are both 4 bars each, and they're the same length. These other ones, number 1 and 3, those are 8 bars long, and you can see they're the same length as each other, but they're twice as long as 2 and 4. And then there's track 5, which is 16 bars, so that's, you know, multiple times the others. It is cool. There's so many enhancements that the Mark II brought over the Mark I, and that's just one like little convenience. Very nice to have that visual indicator, says Milky. Marky heard some beats and he decided to join the party. He didn't go far, see? He just didn't even have to get in his car. He was able to join the link. Check it, we have this. Yo, I exploited and sink a little bit deeper. We need for a little bit of the RAPs. You're needing it. Check it, yeah, and I would be believing it. I'm keeping it in this spot. Check it, I rock everything that I would drop. And it is not something that you would not want it to rock. Hence, I've got to give it a lot. With us, friends, now we have Bunny! All right. All right, here it is. My regulars know that I'm beginning to make more of a push for more discussion on these Tinker streams. And there's been some good discussion already on this stream in the chat. And just now, Wabbit has brought up this might be the first comment, the first chat of the stream to be pinned to the screen. Look at this. This is a hot take. This is a straight up controversial. Goodness. And so I hereby give Wabbit attention. I'm going to respond to this. So on the topic of having sympathy for athletes, I'm pretty out of the loop on anything related to athletics. There may be some exception to that here or there. But for the most part, I don't know what's going on in the world of sports or anything like that. Some of the discussion that's been going on in the chat, it sounds like there's some athlete who got injured recently, like maybe within the past 24 hours or something. Some famous athlete got injured. And I believe, Wabbit, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that's the context that Wabbit's comment comes up. It's like, oh, some athlete got injured, and then Wabbit says, well, my sympathies for athletes has run into the negative. I'm curious to hear Wabbit describe why that is the case. Why do you have negative sympathy? Because I would interpret that. If you have negative sympathy, so if you would have positive sympathy is like this acknowledgement that the other person is undergoing some kind of hardship. Which, of course, is different from empathy, where empathy is like you join them in the experience and like help them process it. That's empathy. But sympathy is just at least like acknowledging, like, well, you know, I do acknowledge that is definitely a hardship. That's sympathy. So I would interpret negative sympathy to be like the denial that there's a hardship. So this athlete who was just injured, I guess yesterday or today or something, she or he or she, I don't know who that was. Wabbit, are you saying that you would like walk up to that person and deny their hardship? You'd be like, this is not hardship. Is that what you mean by negative sympathy? Is that what that means? I do think, though, just generally speaking, it's easy to run out of patience, to run out of goodwill for a person or for, like, I don't know, I guess some group of some sort that you can define. But it can be relatable to run out of patience and say, listen, you don't get to have any kind of exceptional expectations, whereas the rest of us must. You know, if you're processing some sort of experience like that, then certainly it's understandable to have a break in sympathy and say, listen, you've taken enough. Now, with that said, I do not feel that way toward athletes. I do not have any beef with athletes. I don't think I have any beef at all, like in any capacity. I do, there is a little bit of a sense of like, for the professional athletes, like the mega famous NFL players and all of that. And by the way, NFL is football. If you American football, if you're not familiar with that. But if you lose sympathy for like, some mega famous basketball player who is making, effectively millions of dollars per game or whatever they make, if you include the game itself plus, the extra excellent ones who get endorsements and things. It would be difficult to lose sympathy for such a person who would have financial woes. If you see someone has this like exorbitant income for what appears to you to be a very little amount of work, the person didn't earn that. It's very easy to just sort of like, well, fine, you're on your own, That fine, you're on your own really, really sucks. I was reflecting on that the other day. The idea of cultural expectations to help your fellow. And I always felt like I had that. Maybe naively, question mark, I'm not sure. But, over time, having bad experiences, it's easy for that to make you sort of like put a shell up. I see there's some chat for me to get caught up on here. What is going on in the chat? So again, something about that athlete, some athlete who got injured, it sounds like. My first response to that is like, that sounds unfortunate. If she had an injury of some kind. Maybe a silver lining for her, if she's a professional athlete to the degree that we have heard of her and we are talking about her experience, I mean, that's pretty high level of fame. So what that probably means is she has access to resources. She probably has like good physical therapists and good, like sports medicine therapists. She likely has access to that stuff. So she can get the extra healing. The average person, you get some kind of, pull your muscle or something, or you get a sprain. You go to the doctor and you're like, owie. The doctor's like, yeah, that sucks. Here's a Band-Aid. That'll be $4,000. And then that's it. Here's some instructions on how you can take care of yourself. But some professional athlete, they have way more support than that. Because they got to maintain their physical body. I love to think about how, in some sense, that is the realm of like wealth, great resources. Nowadays, we're in this phase of human history where it's possible for different people to excel in different domains, in different fields, in different areas. Hey, here's some person who's a professional athlete versus somebody who's whatever else, an artist or whatever, or somebody who is themselves a physician, or let's say like some kind of investment specialist, whatever. So there's these different domains, and in each domain, if you were to excel in that domain, you would have exclusive resources available to you. You're some professional athlete, you're going to have more physical healing resources available to you than most of the other people on the planet. Now, as a professional athlete of whatever kind, you may or may not have other resources that the average people don't have, but you have this like healing that's afforded to you so that you can excel in that domain. Or if you're some kind of investment specialist, as I was saying earlier, you have a professional network and you have access to resources that most of the rest of the people don't have, and you are able to make better investments and such. So what I'm saying is, it's interesting that I like to contemplate. There's this aspect of I don't know, being a human, where different levels of riches, different levels of resources are available depending upon, you know, what domain you're talking about, what level of excellence and power you're talking about, what level of achievement, like where in the echelons of that domain have you climbed to. And what I'm really trying to, I still haven't made my point yet. What I'm trying to say is, it's cool how at any given time there's these like elite resources that are available to the elite in a given domain. But if you fast forward decades or centuries, what used to be elite resources eventually just becomes more and more plentiful and becomes eventually available to everyone else. So there's this like slow escalating or slow ratcheting up of wealth available to all. Now, that's not to say that at any given time all wealth is available to all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that what is available to any given echelon at any given time is what used to be available only to the elite previously. That's all I'm saying. There's this like what used to be elite and exclusive gradually be like, they can't hold it back, I guess is what I'm saying. There's this like inevitability of sharing of resources. What you have today is like only a king would have had it centuries ago. Like, look at this room I'm in. The fact that I'm in a room, just that, I'm in a room with walls and windows. That's what, you can't see the windows, but there's windows in here. I'm in a room, and you also can't see it, but it's climate controlled in here. There's a thermostat. I don't mean to give away too many details, but there's a thermostat, and I can control the temperature. Just the fact that I could do that, that is like extraordinarily wealthy by many, many standards. Let alone the fact that I'm sitting here with like loopers and all this. So what's available at any given time used to be only available to the elite. But there's this cool phenomenon where it can't only stay with the elite. It's almost like the elite are leading the way, and then the rest of us get to climb up after them. And it's really cool how that happens. That makes the world evolve. The world itself grows and escalates. It's really, I think that phenomenon is cool. That's the point I was trying to make. That's it. That whole phenomenon I took forever to describe. I think it's cool. That's all I'm trying to say. Victor says, hey man, can I get a link to your Discord? Ooh, can I do that? For Victor or for anyone else, if you do want to join my Discord is not publicly searchable. But if you search for me on Discord, just look for Reconsider It. Send me a friend request. Right now for Victor, I am looking. There we go. All right, for Victor, I'm putting the link into the chat. You're going to get a Discord link here, Victor. There you go. There's the temporary Discord invite. Those only last a little while. I don't know how long they last, but they're temporary. So that was from a while ago. Victor asked that like 10 minutes ago. So I'm still getting caught up on the chat now. What else do I have to get caught up on here? Let's see. Going back to the negative sympathy for athletes category, Wabbit says my balance has run into the negative. Traitor to the living! Nice. Every time Traitor to the Living is around in the chat, there's a lot of TTTL. Traitor to the Living. And I always think it says talk to you later. I'm always just like scanning talk to you later. I'm like, oh, who left? No, it's the opposite, friends. Traitor to the Living is with us. Continuing to get caught up on the chat. What else is happening here? So at the moment, today, as we record this stream right now, as we do this very exciting stream content that you are so excited to consume, shout out to my people in the air, 7,653. Right now, it's February 8th, 2026, and there's a Super Bowl here in the United States. We have the Super Bowl going on. And Milky makes a comment that says, I don't know if I have patience for that. Or cricket. I discovered cricket when I lived in Australia briefly. I lived in Sydney for a little while. And they were really into cricket over there. And I was like, oh, wow, what's this? I didn't really get one cricket game will go on for like 3 days or something. I said 3 days there. I got it. That's what I'm going to have. Yeah, so I don't know what's happening with the Super Bowl and all that. Super Bowl is what? What is it? The Seahawks and some other team. I heard the Seahawks are playing. That's what I heard. I forget the other team though. Wabbit says, what brand is my thermostat? I don't know. Some brand? Captain Thermostat. If I were running a thermostat company, I would almost definitely not call it Captain Thermostat. But I would be open to hearing the argument. If there was somebody who really wanted, like I'm sitting there, I'm the CEO of this thermostat company. And it's like, I'm so busy and like there's all sorts of stuff going on. I got to do all sorts of meetings and I got to go meet with this person and I got to go, convince this other CEO of something and I got to do all, I'm just really high powered 60 hours a week and all this. I don't think I would call this company Captain Thermostat. Hey, I gotta go change the temperature here. Let me go and adjust it on the thermostat here. Yo, what kind of thermostat is that? Hey, let me just tell you real quick. This is Captain Thermostat. I mean, if you had an advertisement like that, that would be really energetic and filled with goodness. Nonetheless, me as this really high-powered CEO of my thermostat company, if there were somebody who had the audacity, who had the belief in themselves to stand before me in all my power and tried to convince me that this company should be called Captain Thermostat, or at least our product should be called Captain Thermostat, I would listen to that person. Not because I had any expectation of being persuaded, but I would like to be in the presence of somebody who is so bold and, you know, audacious. Yeah, bring him in. Let me hear what he has to say. I have time for that. I'll give you 5 minutes. Make it quick. I probably learned something from somebody like that. Earlier we were talking about my Discord, and I put that link in there for Victor and anyone else. I see Milky says, Milky just came through. Nice. That's good. Depending on when you are watching this stream, if you're with us live, then you could probably still find the Discord link in the chat. If you're watching afterward, probably it's expired by the time you're watching. Probably. I think they only last like 30 minutes or something. I'm not sure. I could be way off on that. There's another topic I keep meaning to bring up on streams, but I forget it, and I keep forgetting it on the stream. I keep thinking when I'm off a stream, I'm like, oh yeah, I keep needing to bring this up, and that's when I'm just like going through my day. But then once we get on the streams, I always forget what the topic is. It's something vaguely along the lines of like, we should cultivate in cultural practice the idea that you don't know anything about other people, like, kind of at all. You can't read people's minds. You don't know anything about people, like, that you've never met. You don't know anything about people in public events. You truly don't know anything about it. You don't know anything about that person, across the room who you never met, but you saw them for the past 20 minutes. You don't know anything about that person. That coworker who you barely talked to once, and, after these 2 years, you formed your opinion about what he thinks, or like, you don't know any of that. So I forget what the topic is that I keep wanting to bring up, but it's something vaguely along those lines, that it should be more of a cultural discipline to know that you cannot judge people from a distance. You can't read people's minds. Even people who you know closely, you don't. Think about if you have an intimate partner, or if you have, a close friend or family member. think of the most recent time that the two of you were having a conversation and like you had some kind of miscommunication or you were wrong about what she thought or whatever. When's the last time that happened? The answer is probably pretty recently. And now ask yourself, how often does it happen? The answer is really often. You don't even know the people you're close to. And so there needs to be this cultural, I don't know, cultural shift or something, cultural movement where we have more of a discipline and we call each other out and say like, you know, if you don't directly deal with someone, keep their name out of your mouth. If you don't directly interact with them in the three-dimensional universe of material existence, where things are made of molecules and you can measure length, width, and height, and you experience time, like right here, so that you're like physical proximity, directly dealing with someone. If you don't directly deal with someone and directly know them, you should definitely keep their name out of your mouth. And you should never say what you think about them as a character, and none of that. And not because it's rude and destructive, even though it is rude and destructive, but that's not the reason that we should have a cultural boundary around it. The reason is you're just wrong. Like you're not right. And the idea of spreading destructive slander is wholly, WHOLLY, wholly unacceptable. And as a culture, we shouldn't tolerate it. That's not my 2 cents. That's I am bringing the future into now. That's an inevitable direction of forward progress. Is that we'll reach a level where the average person in society understands, like, you know, don't participate in gossip or slander and all this, and it's just eradicated. That will eventually happen someday. I don't know how soon that is. I am advocating that it comes sooner than any estimate you may be thinking. Wabbit's about to get another comment pinned to the screen. Was it Wabbit earlier? I think it was Wabbit who had the. What did we say earlier? What was pinned? Oh, it was the athlete sympathy thing. Yeah. So Wabbit had a hot take earlier. Wabbit once again getting the next comment pinned to the screen. Which is, of course, an undisputed fact, what we have on the screen right now. Undisputed, objective fact. Everyone agrees. Tinker Time is the greatest. Milky says, I think it's my first time here. Is it? Is it your first time? I wasn't sure if it was your first time. I know we were hanging out the other day on, I think it was the Source stream where we were both there. But I didn't realize it was your first time here. That's good. Welcome. Also, here's another one that Wabbit is going to get pinned to the screen. Now, this one's an honor. This is probably this is the biggest honor I'm going to get all day, probably. Wabbit says there's these 4 live streams that are my Mount Rushmore where Wabbits are allowed to roam. This is a nice list. Like, this is a pretty big honor to be included in these four streams here. By the way, if you're not familiar with all these channels that are on the stream, or on the screen, rather, right now, these are some good channels to follow. So the first one, we got Davey the Hug Monster. Davey, spelled like Wabbit has it, D-A-V-I, and then Hug with 2 G's. Davey the Hug Monster. Davey was the first person in the stream today. And Davey does, producer streams, kind of like this. but I use hardware. Davey uses, I'm not sure what Dave uses, Reaper? I'm not sure what Davey uses. Might be Pro Tools or something. But it's just like a producer stream talking. So it's similar. It's very similar to this stream here. And then the Recon stream, which is the best stream you're going to see all day. Milky says, yeah, Davey does use Reaper. Okay, cool. Thank you for confirming. Also, Wabbit says these other two, Soar, Symptoms of Reality, who you may, if you watch my streams often, Soar comes up, not uncommonly, not infrequently. Symptoms of Reality, they of course have the sort of central hub of all of our YouTube communities. There's all these little YouTube musician communities, and Soar is like kind of a meta community of all of us, kind of like overlap. And that's another one where there's, the mad hangout in the chat on every Soar stream. And then Hero. This World Needs a Hero. Another really good stream, another producer stream. Hero has a wide variety of styles. Streams every day for, I think he said it's been like 6 months or something every day. And before that, another few months, but there was 1 or 2 days that were off. But that's This World Needs a Hero. And I think in there the word needs in there has a Z. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's the case. This world needs a hero. Awesome streams. He usually goes for like 2 or 3 hours on his streams. Another good producer hangout. I talk about this once in a while. I'm going to briefly say this unless I go on for like a half hour about it, in which case I won't say it briefly. I'll say it in a very verbose manner in that case. But I've been streaming for just a little over 1.75 years. April 21st, 2024 is when I started. And we're about 2.5 months from that right now. So about 1 year and 3/4 I've been streaming. I have to admit, as an artist, I'm a little sad to tell you the following. This isn't unexpected necessarily, but it is still sad. It's like a loved one is going to pass away. It's going to happen. You're not surprised. But it's still sad. You still don't like it. So, it makes me sad that when I first started streaming, and even before that, another, I don't know, what was it, like a year or something, that I was posting videos and such, posting like improv videos and things. But there used to be a bunch of YouTube artists who I knew, or at least I should say that I followed their pages and I interact with them on a regular basis. I would go check out their videos, they would check out mine, we had interactions. And so many of them just aren't uploading anymore, or they aren't streaming anymore. That makes me sad. For me, this is like, you're going to still see me doing this in 10 years, 20 years. This isn't going anywhere. I'm not promising I'm going to be doing live streams on YouTube. But I am saying that the whole musician thing, I've been doing this for, let's say 25 years, even though it's been more than that. So anyway, I get sad when I see some cool artist, they put out a bunch of good songs, I'm like, oh, this is dope. They do live streams, oh, this is dope. But then they stop for one reason or another. It makes me sad because there's a lot of cool stuff that's not getting created and not getting shared. But shout out to the artists who do stick around and have been doing it for, years, plural. And you're still doing it because what else are you going to do? That's cool. I like to find the artists who are still doing it after 5 years, after 10 years, after 20 years. That's cool stuff. And by the way, this is another thing that I've shared on my streams before, but I'll say again now. What I'm sharing on these streams is just the creative parts of me that are inexhaustible. So for example, for these live streams, I don't do any preparation at all. I put together the beat. When these streams start, I put together the foundation of the beat. And I usually put that together in like 5 or 10 minutes-ish most of the time. Involving some music theory the past month or two. But aside from that, I don't do any preparation for these streams. And I don't really do much follow-up either. I do a little bit of follow-up. I save off the beats and such. Sometimes I take one of these beats and I make it into a song. But that's only sometimes if I like the beat. But just to do the streams, virtually no prep and virtually no follow-up. I just do stuff. I just jump on and do stuff. And I do it from a place of what is inexhaustible. Something that doesn't cause me stress. This is Taoism. What I'm telling you right now is Taoism. This sense of like operating from the part of you that's so thorough and natural and deep and woven into everything you are, and it is everything you are, that it doesn't tire you. Like, if you've never read the Tao Te Ching, that's not bad. It's not a spiritual thing, but there's wisdom in it. I have a really good translation that I like a lot. I've read a couple translations of the Tao Te Ching. I don't know how easy it would be for me to find mine here on my bookshelf. I'm scanning from afar. I don't see it. It would be over here probably in that shelf that I can't quite see. I'm going to get it because it's a good translation. All right, here it is. The translator is Brian Brown Walker. This is a good translation. If you're not familiar with the Tao Te Ching, it's just 81 very short chapters, like little poems. Here's the last 2 chapters of the Tao Te Ching. They're short. You could easily read the entire Tao Te Ching in a single sitting. And it's just, like timeless wisdom. That's what I love. Like that's what I'm all about, the timeless wisdom. Anyway, I bring this up because there's a verse in one of the There's a verse somewhere in one of the chapters, and probably it appears in more than one chapter, that says, it talks about the inexhaustible center operating out of the thing that doesn't get tired. It could shout all day but never grow hoarse because you're not straining your voice. You're doing it in a natural, the way your voice is made to be used. So this idea of operating out of the part of you that doesn't require effort, that's what I do with my live streams. Or at least that's where I position myself. I try to position myself there. And I do that specifically so that you never have to deal with that. You never have to deal with the situation I was just describing, where it's like, oh, I really like Reconsider its content. Oh, but why doesn't he post anymore? It's like you're never going to have to deal with that because I ran out of ideas or something. No, I'm operating out of this, endless, easy space. Now, if I stop posting for other reasons, okay, that's different. But not because I don't do music anymore, or I can't think of a song to write. No, you're just going to get a lot of stuff. I hinted at it earlier on this stream, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. But I hinted at it earlier on this stream how I'm planning to continue evolving these streams. Like, what exactly is a Tinker Time stream? I have done a fair amount of experimenting with my stream content, going back the past 6 months or so. And I'm going to continue evolving. And I believe what I want to try to do next is something like, kind of like what we did here on this stream and what I've been doing for the past, I don't even know how many streams. But there's like roughly the first hour or so, we just do music, really. There's a little bit of talking, but it's mostly building up the beat, playing with the synth. That's the first hour or so of a Tinker Time stream. And then after that, sometimes we just call it there. Call it like, I think yesterday's stream was only like an hour and 15 minutes or something. We just call it after the music. But other times, like today, after making the beat, we then transition into this other phase where we're talking more. And I think I want to lean harder into that. I might, at least to experiment. We'll see how that goes. So have more of like a Tinker Time format where we start, the first hour is the music primarily. I'm not going to make it so strict that I don't talk at all during the first hour, although I could do that. And then in the subsequent hour, let that be more talking. And along with this change, I want to plan more ahead of time. Like I told you during this stream, if you were watching earlier, how there are some topics that I want to bring up and I make a point to bring up. And if you were to watch the past, maybe 10 or so streams, we're on episode number 194 right now. Tinker Time 194. I've done almost 200 of these Tinker Time streams. Can you believe that? Should we have a party for episode number 200? Anyway, I've lost track of what I was talking about or what point I was trying to make. But I was just saying, like, I operate out of this, I try to operate anyway. My goal, I try to orient myself so that what I do on these streams is inexhaustible. And as I say, I'm evolving the stream format. And I would bring up topics for discussion. Historically, for most of these 194 streams, the discussion comes from whatever comes up in the chat. So I played much more of a passive role in what topics were discussed. Now, ultimately, I'm still the arbiter of what I respond to and what I say in response. But I still allowed the chat to choose the direction of what topics I responded to. So I'm planning now, or at least I'm planning to explore, the idea of me bringing up a topic. I did that today a little bit, and I've done it in the past, 5 to 10 streams. I've done it a bit in some of those. And I think that's a good direction. So I'm planning to spend some time putting together a list of exactly what's the range of topics on any given Tinker Time stream you might get a conversation about. Here's these 4 or 5 things that are my brand. It's not going to be 30 things because that's not a brand anymore. 4 or 5 main things, or however many, 6. So you might see that in the coming, I don't know, weeks, months, I don't know. It's not an urgent priority for me, so it's not something that, I'm going to make sure I do right now as soon as I stop the stream. But it is something that I'm kind of tinkering with in the back burner. As I'm walking through my day, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, maybe that. And the next step will be writing some of this stuff down. And then I'll put it into the Tinker Time video description. If you look at the video description now, it has a little list, but that's not a well thought through list. You might see changes to thumbnails and things like that. I might start naming the videos, give the videos a different name based on whatever the topic is that I'm planning to bring up. I think those things might help a little bit in a variety of ways. Help you, that is, to be clear. Milky says that he got into Taoism through Alan Watts. Whoa. I know of Alan Watts, but I don't really know much about him. I mean, I don't really know anything. Let me just say I don't know anything. I know that he is a person, but I don't know anything beyond that. Wabbit says he got a phone call from someone in the year 7,256. That's pretty good. Still getting caught up on the chat here. I'm doing pretty well. I'm like 5 minutes behind right now. A little over 5 minutes behind. I'm doing pretty good job. Go me. I'm so proud of myself. I'm gonna give myself a pat on the back later. I'm gonna be like, good job, me. Way to be almost 5 minutes behind on the chat. Wabbit says he has a general balance, a sympathy balance for people in the negative. Oh man, that's like, I really will empathize with you on that one. Yeah, I have to work hard to maintain my sympathies for people sometimes. People on a whole, that is, not specific individuals. It's hard to keep seeing folly. But one thing that's helpful, you ever heard the idea that dentists are some of the most depressed among doctors? And you know why that is, right? That's because no matter how much work they do, all they ever see are the problems. And no matter how much they tell people to brush their teeth and floss, they don't. And so dentists are just always seeing more and more cavities, and they feel like I'm not, having an impact. What's the point? And that's a more general phenomenon that all of us experience. When we look at, like, what is it that you know about the world? Well, it's hearsay. And human beings are endowed with this ability to see beyond local space-time. Like, you have your sensory organs, and with your sensory organs, you perceive what is in your immediate surroundings. You hear things, you see things, you feel things, you smell things. But you also have more beyond that. Like, you can listen to what someone else says, and you can get like a lower dimensional image of what they experience. You get like a second-hand account of something, and you can get a third-hand account of something. Oh yeah, I heard something's happening, halfway across the planet. Somehow humans are able to know about things that aren't happening in their immediate surroundings. That's not something to take for granted. I don't think it's a safe assumption that other animals have that ability. That other animals have awareness of things that are outside of the immediate local space-time that's available through their senses. Humans somehow can like detach from the local space-time and think about things that aren't there. That's weird. Or I shouldn't say weird, but that is not something to just be assumed. That is not something that, you know, your biology should be able to explain. Why on earth are you able to detach from what's happening in your local space-time and think about something else? What? Why are you able to do that? That's a superpower, but you could do it. This is another topic that I brought up on a stream previously that I'd like to bring up again. Your superpower to get in your organic time machine, and you can think about the future, you could think about the past, you could think about a hypothetical, you could use this thing called imagination. And I had a whole stream about it where I talked about how that's the reason you can't remember the future. You remember the past because the past consists of events that occurred that you bore witness to. A sequence of events that you experienced. That's what the past is. The past is experiences. The future doesn't have, experiences in it yet. You didn't get to it yet. The future is like an empty space. And so you don't remember the future, you remember the past. And you don't remember, you don't remember the future, remember the past. What do you do with the future? You imagine the future. You don't remember the future, you imagine the future. Anyway, my point is, you have this ability, this mysterious ability to interact with things through your mind, interact with things that are not present in local space-time. You can worry about something. What? Why? Look where you are. There's no, elephant about to trample you. Like, calm down. What do you you're worried about something that's not in local space-time. That is worthy of being noticed, that you are able to do that. That's like telling a fish about water kind of thing. Like, you can't talk to a fish about the fact that it's in water. It'll be like, well, of course I am. Something like that is true for humans. Like, the fact that we can think about the past and we can imagine possible futures and get anxiety about them, we think that's so much of a given and obvious. But it's not. That is not a given that an organism could do that. So I went on a lot of random tangents here. And once again, I need to get caught up on the chat. So what's happening in the chat? Oh, by the way, here's another thing that I'm going to say on my stream, just for the sake of throwing this out there for whoever hears it. I mentioned earlier that I'm planning to do some like more formalizing and evolving of the stream content. I'm also considering, should I try to get more of a professional presentation? Right now I just have like, oh, here's a camera randomly pointing at me and a camera like poorly pointing down at my loopers and synth here. Should I try to have more of a better lighting, better camera angles? If so, if that's something that you are knowledgeable about, please approach me about that. I could use some help with that. And while I'm saying things I could use some help with, because I'm not an expert in it and I'm not going to go learn every single possible skill in the universe, which, by the way, that's the reason that humans incarnate in different incarnations. If you didn't know that. That's the reason that, like, your soul currently is incarnated in many thousands of bodies. There's a whole bunch of you right now on the planet. And that's because no given one of you can learn everything. So it has to be parallelized. You have to... what's the word? Outsource. Being a human means we can outsource. I'm getting caught up on the chat here. Wabbit says that his brand is being kind of all over the place. That's what this stream was today. This was a lot more scattered than I expected it would have been. I made like 7 or 8 different comments on different conversations, and I did not bring it through with a single theme. I generally like to do that. Generally, I'm going to bring the unifying theme for you. But I did not today. That didn't happen today. Wabbit has an interesting comment here. This is another thing that I would like to go into detail on, but I'm not sure whether I'm going to do it right now. Right now, we're almost at 2.5 hours. I might be calling it sometime soon-ish. About 2.5 hours is the longest I've ever streamed, I think. There might have been one that was closer to 3 hours. But anyway, Wabbit has this comment here. This is a common sentiment. Wabbit is not alone in this thought process. They say, be yourself. And then if you try to put that into practice, you're like, all right, let me explore that philosophy. I will try to just be myself. Then they say, stop that. Correct. Because that's not actually a good philosophy to live by. It sounds good. It's like candy. But it's not actually good for you. You shouldn't actually live your life that way. Just be yourself. Just be your unfiltered, gut hanging out of your shirt self. No, don't do that. Don't do that at all. That's like the exact opposite of what you should do in public. When interacting with others, you should not just be yourself. Not if you want to have any kind of, meaningful or productive interactions. When you're interacting with people in the world, these people you don't know generally need to see like what you bring to the table. Your strengths. If you have some kind of specific service that you offer or skill, that's what you should bring to the world. That's what you should be. You should be your best version of yourself. Show your strengths to the world. If you're just yourself, then it'll be a mixture of strengths and negatives, and that is appropriate for your close loved ones. Your close loved ones who know all of your context, and they can know about your weaknesses and your shortcomings and that thing that you work on but you're just so bad at. Your close loved ones who care about you, they're the ones who should get your full self. But the public, people who you meet and interact with once, they don't know your whole story. They don't know your context. They don't know why it's no big deal that you have that, really obnoxious personality trait. The stranger just needs to see the way that you're not making their life worse. At least avoid making other people's lives worse. That's what you should be bringing to other people. So I challenge that. That's my hot take. Because there is this philosophy that says be yourself. And it's very prevalent, at least in American culture. Be yourself. Be yourself with your close loved ones who know your full story. Let them see you. Your intimate partner, let that person see you fully. But for people who you don't know and who don't know you, people who are incidental in your life, where you have limited interactions with them for a limited time, only on limited subjects or limited domains, for those people, you only bring the way that you're able to contribute something. Perhaps there's some kind of sliding scale that says, depending on your level of intimacy with the person, show more or less of the real you, the quote-unquote real you. The less you know somebody, then just show them the ways that you have something to offer, the ways that you have something to bring to the table. The more you know someone, yeah, they can see your warts and all. And it's not that, the laws of physics prohibit what I'm saying. You can spend a life, trying to insist on the philosophy of being yourself fully in an unfiltered and uncensored manner. But then your life will be dedicated to this experience in which you eventually come to realize why that's not really a good idea. Because all of your relationships will deteriorate over time. People you thought were your friends because you were feeling comfortable in being yourself, turns out they were just tolerating you and they don't really like you. Like you come to see that stuff when you get to be, older. As you age, you see the things that are less glamorous about ideologies. Ideologies in general are they lead you astray. But sometimes it takes a long time before you discover that. And that's what the third dimension is for. I've talked about this a couple of times. But this world, this flat world that we live in, of material objects, things made of molecules, physical things, this three-dimensional space-time, this is for the purpose of exploring reality. That's why you're here. There's at least one major thing that you currently don't understand, that frustrates you, or it upsets you, or you're trying to crusade for it. There's some part of reality that you are resisting, and that's why you are a human right now. That's why you've incarnated. It's for that thing that you're resisting or fighting. And that's what space-time is for. It's so that you can have a life. You can have, 80 years or something? You can have some amount of time in a human body where you can insist on this thing that you insist on. And then by the time you die, you give up. You yield. And you come to understand why you need to yield on that. You maybe still don't understand the thing that you're resisting. I don't think it's fair that blah happens in the world. Why does there have to be this kind of, injustice? Whoa. Or this kind of poverty? I don't get it. It shouldn't be this way. There's something you're fighting. People shouldn't treat each other this way. A company should be run this way so that it's fair to everyone, or whatever. There's something that you think. There's some opinion you have about something. And everything in your life is about that central theme. But you're wrong. That's not infinite wisdom. You're wrong. And your journey as a human is to accept that. Even if you don't get the wisdom, your journey is just about accepting that. And you will. You will accept it. You will accept that this, crusade of yours is futile. But if you give it your all, which is what your life is for, it's giving you the opportunity to give it your all, then you'll know in the end that you gave it your all, and you'll be able to accept it more easily. That's what your life is about. People are like, oh, what's the meaning of life? What's the purpose of life? I just told you. It's not some huge mystery. You have incarnated into this incarnation because there's something in your, I'm going to use the word soul, even if that doesn't mean anything to you. There's something within you, within some core that drives your decision-making and your behavior. There's something in that. There's something in that, this part of you that pays attention to things, this part of you that makes decisions. Something in that was imbalanced. And you have to have a life of suffering now. where that's the main theme, and you could do everything you want. You could take all the time in the world that you have in this incarnation. You could take all of your 80 years, all of it, and dedicate it to this thing that you just insist on. Why can't it be this way? It should be this way. Let me say the way all of reality should be. I'm wiser than all of everything. You are not wiser than all of everything. And your life is about you coming to humbly accept that. I see Milky has a comment from earlier. I'm only about 15 minutes behind the chat now. This was really good. Milky has a comment that says, music is the first language. I don't know if we can say it's the first language, but I would definitely agree with what I think is your core sentiment, that music is a language. Like the idea of rhythms and tone, those are the core building blocks of our language, of English, or whatever. So I would agree that there is a linguistic aspect to music. I agree with that. A lot of the things I do, because I use my voice to make these loops, like is it this one? Yeah, like this. This sounds like I'm talking almost. Like I'm using words and I'm talking to someone. I've toyed with the idea of actually doing that here in the loopers, of like saying a sentence, but because there's so many things in the loopers that change the sound, that it would just sound like an instrument like this. I have done that technically, but it's not like a every beat type of thing. But I've toyed with the idea of doing it more. I'm still getting caught up on the chat. I am so far behind. I'm like almost 20 minutes. Well, let's say 15 minutes behind. I'm very happy that I just found right now in the chat that we have got Warheart! Warheart joined us like, okay, 12 minutes ago. Or at least that's where I see the first comment from Warheart. Wabbit says that I had a good take to ponder about, and that's why Tinker Time is good. I assume that this was about, from 20 minutes ago when we were talking about the idea of like, you shouldn't be yourself in every context. You should fully be yourself with the people who know your story so that they can love your warts, or they can at least accept your warts. But with people who don't know you, you should present the best side of you, what you have to offer. Because that's the point of like other people existing. It's for some kind of trade or barter of some form on some level. That's what relationships are. They're like a sharing of something. So you should bring what you have to share. Crazy Wabbit says, I'm going to refine my take that when dating, you should be yourself up front. I wouldn't resist that. That's not a hot take. I think there's still a limit on how many of your warts you should be throwing out in the first 5 minutes of your first date meeting someone. But I would agree that you shouldn't hide things. That's pretty important. That's pretty important. If you've ever had an experience, which unfortunately many people have, myself included, if you're in a dating context and the other person does hide things, it's real bad. It's really bad for your intimacy. It destroys it. When you learn that somebody was hiding something from you, not just that they didn't tell you something, because somebody, it's totally plausible that somebody could just not tell you something because it didn't come up, because it didn't occur to them. There's all sorts of innocent reasons that somebody failed to tell you something. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the case where they hid it. They knew they could have told you, but they hid it from you. That's not good. That's an intimacy destroyer. So if that is part of what Wabbit is putting forth here, like in a dating context, I would agree you should not hide things. That's a big one. As things that are relevant for the other person to hear. You don't have to reveal every single detail, but just whatever is relevant for the other person to hear, what's relevant to your interactions and your potential relationship if you're dating. Those things cannot be hidden. And when somebody does hide those things, that person is deceptive. That's what that is. That's deception. And that's not okay. Not for an intimate relationship. There's very few places where deception is relevant and includes warfare. In warfare, deception is relevant. And there are some other places where deception is relevant, but it's always in that sort of adversarial, we are not cooperating. That's the only time when deception is relevant. Not in an intimate relationship. Wabbit has another timeless piece of wisdom for us to meditate upon. As he says, he will accept that Tinker Time is good. I too will accept that. I'm going to work at accepting that. Milky suggests a book from Alan Watts called Out of Your Mind. Interesting. I wonder if that's relevant. I don't know that book. I wonder if that's relevant to part of what I'm talking about earlier when I was talking about you can literally step out of your local space-time and you can imagine or you can remember. So we have this extra-dimensional ability that people don't recognize as being extra-dimensional, but it is. Or I wonder if what Milky's saying from this book, Out of Your Mind, if it's more about perspective taking, and I'm not sure. Milky, if you have a one-sentence summary of that book, please share that. Milky says, I have issues with dating and networking. So do I. I actually have issues with those things too. Those are some of the areas where I have a lot of trouble in life in general. Things that are dating specifically, and formal business dealings, like networking. Those things are challenging for me because they're often very fast-paced and require require you to be able to read a lot of reading between the lines in terms of like, if the person says this, then you can infer these 17 things. And people who are good at that stuff, people who are good at networking and dating, they do have that ability. They're very strong in that way. They have the ability to like know things about you and your character from the way you talk and what you say and what you don't say and the way that you're dressed. And like for me, I more notice the details and less the form. This ability to know things that were not said. If I look outside and I see a puddle on the ground and the dirt is moist or muddy, I can infer that it rained. And yet I didn't see the rain. I never saw it raining, but I know that it did rain. There's something like that in a relationship context that I have a hard time with. That's very difficult. I don't really see it. I'm focused more on the details and less on the shape of the details. So I agree. This is me in solidarity, speaking to Milky and anyone else who lives a life like that, where social interactions, relationships, dating, networking, where that kind of stuff is just like, you know, you've been trying to do it for decades and you're still messing it up and you don't know what you're doing wrong. And if you have that, I'm with you on that. That's my life. That's my day-to-day. Milky has put an Om character into the chat. Om, of course, being that Sanskrit character for the vibration of the universe. It is a good idea to try to harmonize with what is overwhelmingly presented to you. That's a good approach. Harmonize with the things you could not possibly resist. You couldn't possibly stand up to. Fill in the blank. It's a good idea to harmonize with those things. So your organic time machine, that's a topic I'll want to talk more about. I'll include that in the stream menu. This has been a really good stream. This stream right here, this has been such a good stream. We got a good beat out of it. Listen to this beat. This is dope. We got to hang out. This is your favorite online hangout. We got to talk. It's so much better with you here. I hope to see you again in the next live stream. Friends, let's have our closing cheers at this time. Are you ready for this? Do you have your drink? Are you ready for this? We are going to do a very nice clink and then a together full cheers. And it comes on 1, 2, and 3. Clink. Cheers, my friends. Oh, that's good. Please like this video. please subscribe. Please share this video where it would be well received. I hope to see you again in the next live stream. My regulars know we get together multiple times a week to do these very exciting hangouts where I'm playing on the loopers and the synth. When we talk about stuff, that's called tinker time. When there's no talking, that's called unspoken. My regulars know we do it a bunch of times a week. At the top of the screen right now are the scheduled times. Eastern U.S. time zone every Sunday at 1 p.m., every Tuesday at 9 p.m. You can put those in your calendar. My regulars know we also do a bunch of others, usually another 2 or 3 streams a week. It could be any day, any time. Enable notifications so that you can join us for those unscheduled streams. And until then, my friends, until then, please, please have a very good rest of your day today. Please allow the rest of your day today to bring you all manner of goodness and blessing. Please allow the rest of your day today to expand your sense of what is possible for you to receive and experience in terms of healing and blessing. Please become receptive today. Please allow your receptiveness to increase today. Please become receptive to all that is within your perimeter today that is healing for you. Please receive all that is within your horizon today. Please expand your sense. Allow your sense to be expanded of what is possible. Things you never thought that you would be able to live and experience today. Experience all of that in the beginnings today. And I will see you in the next Reconsider It live stream.